Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
What is going on, people? I'm actually starting the show. Usually you have Kevin, but he's got a little technical difficulties tonight. So actually I'm kind of running the show, but Kevin is here. Of course, we also have Angel with us tonight.
What's up? What's up?
Of course, you have me, the other co-host, and our very special guest from Guns Akimbo and my one of my favorite movies, Deathgasm.
Yeah.
Deathgasm 2 will hopefully be coming, but Jason Howden, how are you? How's it going?
Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you for coming on. So I must say that watching, I've asked around usually whenever we have guests on, I'll be like, oh, have you heard of this movie? Have you heard of this movie? Have you heard of this movie? And Deathgasm is one of the ones that almost everybody has heard of. And I think everybody loves. So it's one of those, not rarities, but it's one of those things where everybody that's seen the movie has enjoyed it. So.
Yeah, that's always a shock to me. I probably enjoy it least out of everyone. But yeah, thanks so much. It's amazing to hear, and yeah, I'm surprised people are still talking about it after this long. Actually,
yeah, but I think with the streaming and stuff, it still has like a presence there that not everybody like me. I'm a collector, so of course it's in my collection. But for the streaming and stuff, whenever people, they are flipping through, the name, for one, caught before I knew what it was. I was like, Deathgasm. I'm like, what is that? Then just reading the synopsis and me being a metal fan and a horror fan, where you mix both together and you get this awesome movie. I think for that, it's once I read the synopsis, saw the name, I watched it, and I loved it. So,
yeah, it's like chocolate and peanut butter, right? It's it just seems like such a no-brainer as well. Mixing getting the gore and the metal together in that way is which is been done before, but it's definitely such a happy accident.
The one thing that and sorry, I'm the faceless person over here, but the one thing I had heard, or I think it was either I read or whatever, was how low the budget was for the first one, because I assume as a film fan, it looks fantastic. I mean, yeah, it's not like a super duper low budget movie, but it wasn't like $1 million movie.
No, it was $150K.
Isn't that
which
crazy?
Is like, yeah. I mean, sort of trauma. I mean, trauma have got much bigger budgets than us. I think, and a lot of that comes down to, we managed to steal a lot of gore. We had the Evil Dead, 2013 Evil Dead movie film in Auckland, and we managed to steal a bunch of gore off that. A few dicks from Spartacus. The Spartacus TV series had a lot of leftover dicks, so we stole some dicks from Spartacus. Just rubber dicks lying around for the taking.
They're just in a pile in some backyard.
Yeah, just go help yourself to the dick pile. It's like a
by the pound. Yeah, do you sell them by the pound, or is it?
Yeah, like a little fruit bowl of dicks.
Yeah, exactly. So the thing, I watched it again today because it has been a little while since I've seen it. I actually watched both Deathgasm and Guns Akimbo today. Just because it's been a while since I've seen both, and they're both phenomenal. And one thing I know I've gone back and forth with Angel on this. I'm not a big action movie guy, but Guns Akimbo is a very much an action movie, and it's one that I think it has the humor and it has the gore in there that keeps me interested, and just the ridiculousness of it. So with the new one, I mean, obviously you've proven. I mean, besides making these two movies, you've been in the industry quite a bit, and you've worked on quite a lot of things that have piqued a lot of people's interest. So obviously, you know what you're doing. And I was even more surprised. Well, just as surprised.
I know.
He knows more than I do. But so with the Kickstarter, your goal is like, what is it, like 200 and something thousand?
300K.
300K. You're almost there too.
Almost there, yeah. It's. I was worried at the start. I went into it going like, as long as it's not like a 12% sort of like it probably thing. Like, if it's over half, then I'll be happy. So and we're well over that now, and I think we've got 6 days to go, and I mean we're pretty confident. We're just pulling out all the stops. I'm literally messaging people from our to try and get around the face. We've got like 41,000 followers on the Facebook page, Deathgasm Facebook page, but the Facebook algorithm won't let you get to those people. So like I'm literally going through and messaging person by person, like just like, hey, what's up? I'm the director. Like,
holy shit.
Yeah,
because you think like if everyone from the page chipped in $10 would easily have the funding. So it's just trying to like work around the hurdles of social media.
And
I've heard that Facebook, as soon as you post a link of Kickstarter, Indiegogo, YouTube's, they go, okay, no one's gonna see this.
Yeah. The bastards, basically.
Looking at the perks too, like for very little, you can even get a thanks, like where your name is mentioned in the credits, and that's enough to be like, hey, look at, there's my name right there.
And it's something, I mean, it's I see anyone that contributes to the campaign, that they're our bosses, they're the producers, they're the people that are like, have put their faith in the project, and they, they've seen the first Deathgasm, and they know what, we want to do. Because, the thing is, like, when we tried to get it funded a few other times through, like, they've got the New Zealand Film Commission here, which are a government body, and through, like, private financing, and there was always like, it's, you made this film in 2015, but it's like times are different. You can't show this, you can't show boobs, you can't show gore, and it's like, holy shit, guys, like, what, I just got so disgruntled with having to, go back and like make changes to the script and just to suit like someone's sensibilities who someone who wasn't really a fan. I'm like, you guys don't really know, we know metal and horror fans what they want to see, and so basically we're like, let's do a crowdfunding, let's put it out there to the actual metal and horror fans, and they can choose. The adults, they can choose what they want to watch.
Totally, and they're going to choose what you want to show them as well. Like,
yeah,
they're going to show they're going to choose the gore and the boobs and all the other stuff.
I think like totally. Chatting to I was chatting to the Terrifier 2 producers, and I think that was like a bit of a wake up call that like. Holy shit, like that, people, it's a sort of film that wouldn't really get funded normally through normal channels, but they did it independently through Kickstarter that was like, wow, we want to, it's a very different film from Terrifier, but, just the extreme content that they had, and
if you build it, they will come type of scenario.
Yeah. And it showed like because we're friends with those guys. We've had them on multiple times, and it's a movie that cost like $200 and something thousand, and I think they pushed Top Gun out of the #1 slot the like 1 week that they were in the theater, and that's pretty crazy. That's huge considering that David Howard Thornton, who plays Art, was like a waiter a couple of years ago. And it's like,
now and then I saw some headlines like the new Exorcist is scarier than Terrifier 2. Like,
wow, they're already using that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Wow.
But hopefully, that we'll see see that kind of action with Deathgasm too, because
I'm
excited. A
excited.
lot of people love the first one. Actually, Josh is in the chat saying that he dug the first one and he can't wait for the second. And it's a really good time if you're a metalhead. Even if you're not a metalhead, I think it's a good time. I mean, I don't know. It's just a good time in general.
Yeah. I mean, we've had some people saying like this was their this was the gateway drug into metal, which is like, well, that's cool. That non-metal heads have gotten that out of it, and can introduce people to horror and metal through the movie. And yeah, I mean, there was never anything like, even we wanted to really represent a lot of underground and extreme metal bands that, not just like the Metallicas and the Panteras of the world. We wanted to get some some really cool underground bands in there and introduce people to that. But at the same time, we didn't want to be gatekeepery with it, like saying, oh no, we're too cool for school. Because we wanted to like have characters that, to give people a taste of what it feels like to be an outsider, and just say, hey, like, if you're feeling like shit, if you're feeling like your life sucks, like there's this, there's this form of music that you can listen to, and it can, other people are feeling what you're feeling, and you can listen to that, and because metal can be quite gatekeepery, especially on the fringes of like the black metal kids, and
I knew them first.
Yeah, exactly. That sort of attitude. It's bullshit. Like it's, but you don't have to listen to them either. Yeah. Like you don't have to people. They're like, oh, can I put this patch on my jacket? Can I do this? Can I do that? It's like, just do what the fuck you want.
Right. I did respect the fact that you mentioned. Sorry for any children that are listening. I'm sure there's none, but you mentioned anal cunt in the first movie.
Yeah,
and I'm like, yeah, Seth Putnam.
Gotta represent.
Yeah, he's actually like, they're from Mass, and I'm from Mass, and like,
oh really?
They used to play at a local club, and we just their set list would be written on a poster board, and then Seth would just progressively get drunker and drunker throughout the night and just get thrown out by the club. Into the middle of the street. He was a mess. Yeah, but yeah, it's cool that's there, and then I also, of course, noticed there was a Bad Taste T-shirt in the back, and on one of the characters. Is there going to be any more like homages? Because you've worked with at least with Peter on some of the Lord of the Rings stuff, right?
Sort of, like not personally, but I was I've worked for his companies for a long time and off and on, and I only met him once, and it was in a toilet, which seems like kind of fitting.
Yeah.
When I was at Park Road Post, which is like his post-production house here in Wellington, and it was like crunch time for The Hobbit, so everyone was doing long hours, and I went into the toilet. There were no urinals; it was just the toilets, and then I went in there and someone had pissed all over the floor. I was like, oh, yuck, and I was like, oh, damn it. Okay. And I did my thing. And then I was walking out, and like, as I was like pushing the door, someone was pulling it, and it was Peter Jackson.
Oh.
And he had bare feet. And I was like, oh no, he's going to think that I did the piss.
That's the worst,
right?
It
wasn't me, man. It wasn't me. But I didn't say it because I didn't want to say any. Also, if I had have like mentioned it, I would have looked guilty. So I just said nothing.
Yeah.
So just,
and I want to apologize
to the guy that pissed in the toilet.
I want to apologize to Josh. He said that his daughter heard me say the AC word. And Sergio's saying hi to everyone. So hey, what's up, Serge? And but yeah, it's so are you gonna throw? I mean, obviously, some legendary movies coming out of New Zealand from Peter Jackson in that kind of subgenre with extreme gore. Are you gonna? Is there going to be any little Easter eggs? I mean, I'm sure I've missed others as well. Is there any others in Deathgasm besides like the Bad Taste T-shirt, or is there any other reference?
I'm not sure. I mean, it's. I mean, those movies are so influential. Like, he paved the way, not just like for splatter comedy. I mean, I guess he was inspired by, I think, the Trauma stuff, especially for bad taste. Like I think he'd watched like some Toxic Avenger and so, said to himself, I want a piece of that.
Yeah.
And but like, I think in terms of New Zealand film, like we were just, not doing really kind of terrible dramas for the most part until he came along and just really changed the roadmap for us. And it's kind of strange because like in New Zealand, like a lot of, especially the New Zealand Film Commission, they hate horror. They hate gore, and they just don't understand horror comedy. And it's like our whole film industry is built on horror comedy. If there was no bad taste or brain dead, there'd be no Lord of the Rings, that company still like employs thousands of people to this day.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because I there's a few I watch like some like Adam Savage's videos and stuff like that, and he's always like over there like dealing with the guys in Weta and like all these other things, and it's just like it looks amazing. I would love to just go there just to walk through, and then quickly get kicked out because I'm not supposed to be there. But
it's mental. Like you were just walking around, I just bump into Guillermo del Toro. You're like, oh shit! Like, it's like there's just all these kind of. I remember Gareth Edwards was like, like meeting people like before, like after Monsters, and there's always just like someone crazy famous just wandering around.
That's awesome. I also like to think there's one scene in Guns Akimbo where a girl comes out from underneath the desk. And in my mind, it's the Meet the Feebles with the cat underneath the desk with the wallet. In my mind, I'm like, yeah, that's what he meant. That's what he meant by that. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Wait. I'll shut up for the time being because
maybe unintentionally. Yeah.
Tony,
with the Deathgasm, where did you come up with the idea for that? Because like Kevin was saying, you had a lot of, the visual effects route beforehand. 3 of my favorite movies of all time, The Lord of the Rings. So like doing all that, where you're like, eventually I'm going to direct my own, or how did that all come about?
No, I was trying to direct, and I sort of fell into visual effects because I needed to pay the bills, basically. But Deathgasm actually came about. It was like during the 3rd Hobbit movie, and I was just so sick of it. Like I was just so, and I don't know. And apologies to anyone that likes those movies, but I was just so fucking over it. It was my job was to paint out, like they had the guys in the suits and like the Urukai looking guys. My job was to like paint those out so they could put these CG monstrosities in there, and I was just watching, like looking at green screens all day. It was just so depressing. And so by the 3rd movie, there was this Make My Horror Movie competition, and I just decided to like enter a few ideas. And I think me and a mate have been like talking about, I think the title came first, Deathgasm, and in my mind it was a bit like Splatterhouse, like just like this sort of like weird Splatterhouse, Silent Hill, just gore for gore's sake. And then at a certain point, we're just like, we'll chuck some metalhead characters, and we progressed through the competition, and the competition had like different hurdles, like you have to like do a poster, you have to do a synopsis, and then like we got to the top three, and then like the last, we had to write a script. And basically, I sat down and wrote like about my childhood, like my teen years being a metalhead, growing up in a small town, and just combine that with Evil Dead, and just like I spent like 2 days on it, and just like and that's basically. I think if I had more time or spent more time on it, there was a lot of stuff I would have done differently. But then you think, okay, well, maybe it's just that stream of consciousness, not trying to over intellectualize it or anything is kind of appealing, maybe in some way, like not trying to be too much of a hipster about it or anything, just trying to like make something fun and entertaining for a couple of hours.
Well, it worked. I mean,
I was gonna say it's what you got down to, completed state was wonderful, and called back some, like you said, Evil Dead. So I felt like there was a little bit of the gate in there.
Oh man, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there you go.
You're right next to me.
Just so I have that always next to me in case someone mentions the gate.
Yeah, no,
I've had it for like 20 years.
Yeah. You're the first person.
And like I said, wrapping up, the metal thing, like, with them in the garage and trying to come up and like, that one note, coming in, and then they all get into it and click, So yeah, it's definitely we covered it, a while back on my other show, and that was like, like you said, the splatter film type of deal, and the gore, like we likened it to like the ones you mentioned earlier, Bad Taste a little bit, and
yeah,
Better Lives.
Night of the Demons, I think, was another big inspiration. And of course, Trick or Treat, which is in my mind probably the best heavy metal. If someone was like said to me, "Oh, I've never seen a heavy metal horror movie. What should I watch first?" I'd probably chuck Trick or Treat at them, just because it's it's so iconic, and it's unlike a few other heavy metal. It feels like a real film, but it's it's got Gene Simmons, Ozzy in it. The dude that plays Sammy Kerr is freaking amazing. The backwards masking record and everything.
Yeah, but then they had like Hard Rock Zombies and stuff like that. It was another like metal meets horror and stuff. But it's always like I've said many a times, I like when you can like mash two genres or whatever. But I mean, with horror movies comes like when you think of a horror movie, you think about like a heavy metal soundtrack to go with it. But this one just takes it and throws it into the movie. Usually the music is behind it, but this is like, wrapped around it, which I love. So
yeah,
I think we had the advantage as well of like when those movies were made, heavy metal was still pretty young when you think about it. Like maybe like 10 years old, really. Like after Priest and Maiden started really like popularizing the term heavy metal. And we had the advantage of using different types of metal that had like progressed since then, like death metal, black metal, as well as like thrash metal, stoner metal, metal.
Yeah. Real quick, Tech Prime Media saying first time catching you guys live, figured I'd say hi, and Deathgasm was awesome. And apparently Josh was kidding. His daughter didn't hear me. And then and Saul is saying I enjoyed Guns Akimbo. Concept was very different. Yeah, Guns Akimbo is a fun watch for real.
Yeah,
there was that image of Daniel Radcliffe that kind of made the news because he was filming and he was just like in a bathrobe with two guns in his hand. And they're like, what's going on with But that's good. That's good publicity for the movie. But that must have been an experience too. Like,
yeah, I wanted to hear a little bit about that because
that day. That was like the second day of filming, and it was the first time I'd filmed like a car chase scene or like anything with like just in this car, and it was just mental. I hardly remember it, but like basically when we got out, we did the car chase stuff at the start of the day, and at the near the end of the day we filmed like the outside stuff, and there were just like literally, like you see the camera facing Daniel and everything. If you pointed the camera the other way, there's like just thousands of people, and they're all yelling stuff. They're all yelling Harry Potter. They're all goading him, and just it was like we had like no security. We like really like minimum security. Like Dan had his people, but there was like, man, what are we gonna do if like these people just like rush? There's this. It was like people were just like the crew was scared, man. It was
crazy.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, rabid Harry Potter fans.
Yeah, and just like a lot of tourists, and just I don't know what they were all doing. Like, surely they had somewhere else to be. They're just like walking down the street and decided to watch Daniel Radcliffe for like 2 hours.
Yeah. Sergio's asking if we have trailers. We do have trailers for the first Deathgasm, and we also have Guns Akimbo. I'm not sure if you're cool with us playing them, but
yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So, especially if you haven't seen either movie, they're completely different kinds of movies, but they're both fantastic. And you wrote and directed both of them.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, like as far as like writing and directing, how early in your career, like what was your first like project? You did shorts and stuff before, right?
Yeah, I first tried to make my first film when I was like 13, which was it was actually based on true story because our school was next to like a psychiatric ward.
Oh,
this is a really bad story. I was 13 though, so it's like give me a break.
Yeah,
no, but our school was next to a psychiatric ward, and this guy jumped the fence. You'd think they had better security. Ran over to the boys' school with a pair of scissors and tried to stab a few boys, and then ended up like stabbing himself. And I tried to pretty much make a film based around that, which is incredibly good taste. And we were like making dummies and doing like all the effects ourselves. I was and then like when one of the teachers told me that we could use a video camera. And it's like so we like did all this prep for like weeks or maybe even months, and then he was like, oh yeah, I probably should read what they're up to, and then he read it and he's like, you're not using my video camera. No. Like this is too offensive. It's like, well, what you let 13-year-olds make up a horror movie, it's gonna be like as vulgar and offensive as shit.
Yeah, obviously.
13-year-old boys are basically the worst.
Yeah, you had some good material. Real life shit happened.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell the story.
The story needs to be told by a 13-year-old boy. Yes. So you said that the as far as the Kickstarter, it's got about 6 days left.
6 days left, yeah.
Yep. And the link for it is in the show notes and everything.
Deathgasm 2, Goremageddon.
It's a bit terrifying. I should check it. It's pretty terrifying. It's like insanely close now.
Yeah, you have
shit. We've got like 60K left.
Nice.
So it's like 10,000 a day.
Yeah. So for like $45, right? You can get a Blu-ray, a digital download, and a thank you for $45.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, and the great thing is like because our co-producers are Raven Banner. Which is a Canadian genre company. They brought out like Turbo Kids, Psycho Goreman, all those films. But they're just like they do physical media, so it's like some Kickstarter projects you're like, oh well, are they actually going to be able to come out with the goods? But I think teaming up with them, like people can be assured that they're going to get like an amazing package. I met them when we first did the film festival circuit for the first Deathgasm, and they're just such massive horror fans, and they just like they really like what they do. They really like horror, genuinely love horror films and genre films. So it's been amazing working with them.
Yeah, that's pretty sick. I mean, it like now that you mentioned like that, yeah, it's going to be a pretty sick release then if they have anything to do with the release of that, like physical media. Like the Turbo Kid set that I have is probably one of my favorite sets.
Yeah.
Like, as far as like just like how cool it is.
So
it's pretty sick. So
I'm looking at one of the tiers here for is soundtrack. Can you talk a little bit about any bands or anything? How's that?
Yeah, so I guess there's two elements to the soundtrack. There's like every soundtrack, there's the score, which we're really proud to have like Matt Heafy from Trivium, who's scoring the film, and then there's the actual, the soundtrack of songs, which will be like, it's going to be a good mix. Like I think when I was first trying to, curate the soundtrack for the first film, I was heading up like stalking like Iron Maiden and bands like that. I didn't realize how like expensive that shit was.
Yeah.
So, oh no, have you got like 5 times our budget to like use like 30 seconds of their songs? But then that, what sort of happened, what I realized was like people actually kind of respected it, that it wasn't like that sort of Netflixy sounding, it wasn't, it's like, I mean, I like Stranger Things, but it's like, Master of Puppets.
Right.
We've all been there. It's not exactly the biggest like Metallica deep cut.
No.
And so like I think the most famous band we had on our soundtrack was Emperor for the first one.
Yeah.
We still want to keep it. It'd be great to like mix it up. I don't know if I can actually really mention any bands that have sort of got lined up for it until I guess I don't want to mention them just in case it falls through and we piss people off.
That's,
but,
you can DM me later.
yeah. But it's not going to be like we're not chasing names for the sake of it. It's more about like, is this song like awesome? Is this, you know, and one of the cool things is like we're running a competition with underground bands to like submit their songs. I think we've had like 100 submissions, and it's just awesome. I've got all these new bands to listen to, but also like some bands come up that I'm like massive fans of. Like there's a band like VHS, which I think stands for Violent Homicidal Slasher.
Oh,
but
nice.
I was like, oh my god, I love this band, and I got in touch with them. I'm like, dude, like thanks so much for like
I was already listening to you guys.
Yeah, I know it's so cool, and I'm like, dude, we're gonna work together. And but yeah, it's I think that the great thing is like it's not us chasing the bands. It's and you know like they were, you know, chasing a band that doesn't really give a shit. It's more like, you know, that these bands are fans of the film, and then they're like. Like for me, like whatever you're doing, like passion goes so much further than, you know, if someone's passionate about something. It just
instead of just licensing out just for the rights, and like they don't give a fuck, they don't know that they're on the movie at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
You actually have like people that, you know, it's like a symbiotic, you know, type of deal.
What are your thoughts on hardcore? Because I was going to say I can send some messages to some bands that I'm obsessed with. That I can hey, you should submit.
I mean, it's such a fine line. You know, like it's I think that whole scene can be pretty weird. I didn't run into the crowd killing thing. Like the whole like just I remember that I was at a hardcore gig in back in small town New Zealand, and some guys come around and just like cracked me in the head, and I'm like,
oh,
for me the mosh pit is always like a sort of.
I think times are different now. Honestly, I think.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I think from when I was a kid, like I don't know how old you are, but when I was a kid, it's completely different animal. Like hardcore shows then and now, completely different animal. But
that's cool.
And the bands that I am digging are like all like fairly newer bands that are pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Like
for me, a mosh pit is like someone gets knocked down and you pull them back up. You don't just like crack them,
right?
You don't
exactly.
punch them for like you know, it's not about
sort of sake of doing it. Like you shouldn't lose teeth every time you go to a concert. Yeah. But
definitely open. I mean, there's some like some crossover, you know, some big crossover, like, you know, bands like Converge, which really
my favorite
blew the line. It's like, are they hardcore? Are they metal?
Punk rock, hardcore punk.
Yeah. But
that's one of my favorite bands. They're from
amazing.
They're from down the street from you, Angel.
Yeah, Boston.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're both from Mass. Yeah, there was this band called Gel that I was like, they're a hardcore band out of New Jersey, and I'm like, oh, I should be like, you should submit. And they're from Jersey, like Tony is. So that's you know, whatever. But Sergio's asking what happened on the video. I don't know, Sergio. I turned my computer on and my camera won't work.
He uploaded his brain to the mainframe, so he's now a computer.
But we're at 30 minutes, so I do want to play a trailer. I'm going to play the trailer for Deathgasm first. So that way, so Sergio, you can give me your opinion. I'm assuming you haven't seen Deathgasm. Usually he tells me if things are too scary for him or too whatever, like, oh, no way, no, I'm good, whatever, but we'll see. So here's the trailer for Deathgasm, and you can see hopefully soon, I mean, after the funding and everything, there's a process to the whole movie making.
No, it's coming right out.
Yep, it's going to come out.
Some people think we've already made it. They're like, oh, we can watch it. I'm like, we haven't made it yet.
It'll be out by Halloween. All right, so here we go. Here's the trailer, the official trailer for Deathgasm. We'll be right back.
You know that evil heavy metal that your parents hate you listening to? You know those lyrics about hell, demons, and doom? What if I told you it's all real? I know. I was there.
Jesus! It's piss.
That's me, Brody. My friends are losers, so we started a band.
Check it out.
Ricky, Daggers. Is he dead? Wouldn't it be crazy if the music had something to do with demons?
Demons.
We're all gonna die. I translated those pages. Now, people are turning crazy. Like possessed crazy.
What's up?
That was pretty cool, as is, I mean, the axe and the...
You know, I'm not even sure I'm in the right tuning. Brother of Steel.
There you go.
Hell yeah.
There's Deathgasm.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. When's the last time you saw it, Angel?
Fucking couple years at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I put it on today while I was working. So I was like,
I was like, oh, that's right.
Yeah, it's pretty great. What about you, Tony? When's the last time you saw it?
A couple days ago, actually, I popped it in.
Nice.
Once
Okay.
I knew I'm getting a little, I watched it how many times when it first came out? I probably like 5 at least, just because it was one of those movies that I just kept playing on repeat. Like when I go to sleep, sometimes I'm like before I go to bed, I just watch the same movie.
Yeah.
No, well, that too. I probably had some crazy ass nightmares after.
But head bang in the bed, bro.
Exactly. But there's some I just keep playing over and over and over again, and that was definitely one of them. So going from Deathgasm, who had, I'm guessing they're bigger in New Zealand and stuff, because I know Milo was in another movie I liked, Blood Punch.
Oh yeah.
So I liked him in that, and then he was in Guns Akimbo. But going from them to like Daniel Radcliffe, was it that big of a difference? Like, or did you take the same approach, or?
Not really. I mean, to be honest, like Milo and Dan were very similar to direct. You know, like very sort of they had a similar style where you'd jam with them, but then they'd sort of like throw some curveballs and do something like just something extra every take. And both actors, I almost always end up using the first take. It's crazy. Like in the edit room, they're like, "Man, they nailed it in the first take," and everything I did after that was just like, screwing around. Yeah. I mean, I guess, I think I don't really get like that starstruck by like movie people. I get starstruck by like wrestlers and like death metal and things like Glenn Benton, and it's like, oh my god, like when I'm chatting to someone from wrestling, that's when I get like I turn to a fangirl. I don't really get it from like movie people as much, even though I'm a movie fan. Like I've met a few like pretty big people and made a complete dick of myself, but
yeah, I hear you. I'm in the same boat.
I don't know. Like I think it's like because like wrestling and metal were things that I was listening to. It's stuff that it brings out that kid in me.
Mm-hmm.
It brings up that inner child. Like like oh my god, like whereas I don't really get that so much, especially with like mainstream films. Yeah, it's interesting, but I mean, Dan was like just so easygoing anyway. Like he was just no ego, no like Hollywood bullshit. Like he was just like, no, I'm too good for this. I'm gonna stay in my trailer. He was just like fully 100%, 1000% into the film. Just put so much effort into it, and just treated everyone in the crew down to like the runners with like, just so much respect, and so that always makes it easier when you're dealing with someone that isn't like, don't think they're above the material,
It's pretty awesome to hear about him too, honestly. Yeah. Like someone who's been doing it since he was a little kid, it's very easy to get jaded, I guess. But like he's got his like, his hand in some really weirder, like odder movies anyway. So it's like, that's pretty cool. Like him and what's his face? The other one there, that Hobbit guy. Elijah Wood.
Oh yeah,
yeah. He's dealing with some pretty weird stuff out there too. And
isn't he going to be in the new?
What's that?
Oh yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
No, I was going to say, isn't Elijah Wood in the new Toxic Avenger movie with Peter Dinklage?
He is.
Yeah.
It blows my mind.
Yeah, what do you think about that as a film fan? What do you think about that whole? I mean, I understand Lloyd needs money, but I mean, what do you
Lloyd
think?
always needs money.
I know.
I imagine he lives in like this $100 million mansion, and he's just like incredibly cheap.
We had him
I'll spend $5 on this movie.
We had him on the show a couple times. The first time we had him on, after the show, we figured he would be like, "All right, I'm out." He picked up his laptop and he walked us around his house, introduced us to his wife. Introduced to his wife, who was like the New York film commissioner for years and years and years. And then he tried to sell us really hard on Blue Apron, because Blue Apron, his son-in-law created Blue Apron, which is like that. You order food, they deliver to you.
Yeah, deliver ready prep meals to your home.
Yeah,
amazing.
Well, yeah, he just seems like a really good guy. I've never met him in person, but I mean, so far what I'm seeing, I was nervous when he announced it, but so far I'm not disappointed yet.
But I don't know, like there's something about those, especially the early movies, that I don't know, like when there's like big names and money behind it, it sort of takes away from the fun. Whereas like, you're watching something like, Class of Nukem High or Redneck Zombies or something, and you're like, it feels like sleazy and like it feels like one of those movies you shouldn't be watching.
Right.
When I remember first watching Toxic Avenger, and it's like, oh my god, this is like when the kid gets his head run over, and it's everyone in my school was just talking about. That's all that everyone was talking about, and it just I don't know. Like I'll definitely watch it. I mean, I love how Elijah does like kind of crazy shit like that as well. I wanted to like try and pitch like a face-off, but like with Daniel Radcliffe and Elijah Wood, like a face-off remake.
That'd be awesome. My curiosity is, you know how like they always use the same car flip in all the Toxic Avenger movies. I wonder if they're going to sneak that into the new one. That'd be awesome. If they do, I'm sold. That'd be
flipping, and then it just changes the exact same scene from like the 80s, where it's like, hold on,
that would be.
It's all grainy just for one shot.
Yep. But no, I'm still a trauma guy at heart. I still really want to see Shakespeare shitstorm, but we'll have to wait.
I mean, it's just like that he just really paved the way for that kind of filmmaking. Like I said, like Peter Jackson was inspired by Lloyd. Like I think before Lloyd, it was there wasn't really anyone doing stuff that was as funny and gory, and just didn't give a shit.
A lot of people compare him and the Full Moon guy, but they're completely different style of movies altogether.
I think so, yeah.
And I think the trauma stuff is more rewatchable for me, because it's just so ridiculous that it's more rewatchable. But
the Full Moon's like evil Muppets, like they always
there's some good ones. There's some good ones. Like Castle Freak is a good movie. I like Castle Freak.
I was watching the Puppet Masters, and they didn't hold up as much as I expected them to. I was watching them. I'm like,
you were expecting.
I was expecting them to be like when I was younger. It looked so much different, but they didn't. Trauma movies were just like I was watching Rabid Grannies the other day, and it has that like Dead Alive feel to it. But that it wasn't like I expected anything different. With Puppet Master, when I was younger, I was like, oh man, these look so real. Then I watch it now, and I'm like, what was I thinking? They don't look.
Those are not real.
I think the one Thomas Lennon made, The Third Reich. I think that's the one he did. That Thomas Lennon, the guy from Reno 911. I think that one actually.
The last Reich or whatever.
Is it The Last Reich? Okay. Yeah. I thought that one.
That one was good. That one was good.
List, I think it is.
Good kills.
Anyways, but yeah, we have about 50 minutes left. I definitely want to play the trailer for Guns Akimbo. What'd you say?
So we have 50 minutes left.
15.
Oh, okay.
You're like, what?
You can't pronunciate.
It's like a filibuster. We're gonna go all night.
I've been talking all night.
We hit 300.
Enough money.
The camera doesn't work. I'm very upset. I'm furious. I'm a rabid grin.
You look wonderful, man.
Thanks. I'm a Frankenstein with my face. But yeah. So besides, obviously, your main focus right now is Deathgasm 2. Do you have anything else that is on your slate? Like, do you have any anything else you can talk about that you maybe have planned down the road?
Yeah, I mean, we've got this one thing which is like it's sort of like it's involving metal, but it's like a big budget thing, and we're just waiting for the actors' strikes to be over basically before we can start getting contracts out there. We've got a few people attached, but that's when it's like they gave me a list of the bands and like how much the like this Metallica song is going to cost like $750,000 or maybe an AC/DC or something, and it's like. This is like I'm doing Kickstarter like pleading for like $10, and then I go read this email and it's like $750K for like for like a snippet of a song. It's so weird. The different worlds.
Yeah, please fund us getting 30 seconds of this Metallica song. So ours
that'd be funny if we just raised enough money for like, and that was the whole film, just like 15 seconds of Metallica.
Every $10 you donate, Lars will forget how to play drums that much more. Whatever. Obviously keep your eyes out there and see what's got coming up, and hopefully, I mean, either way, Deathgasm 2 is going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, I've sort of at the point now where if we don't get funding, I'm like I'm over it, honestly, but yeah, it looks like there's enough people, behind it now where I'm like, man, we probably should do this.
Yes.
But yeah, we're trying to make it a few other times, and getting turned down for like it being too gory or too offensive, and we're like this is the last shot for me, I think.
Well, the thing is that you look at Terrifier 2, like the one thing that helped out was with the pandemic and everything, all the movies shut down, and then you had on Netflix. I think that's what sparked its life, was people seeing it on Netflix, and it's like, oh, okay, a second one's coming out. And then just when we had them on, they're like, if you thought the first one was crazy, just wait for the second one. And then the second one didn't disappoint. Now they're going to have a lot on their plate for the third one, because the second one was like, it almost didn't end. I'm like, wow, okay. Especially the one scene, the bedroom scene. I've never seen it. I was like, it was like 3 scenes in one. I'm like, oh man, he's still going. Yeah. But
I was so proud that I saw the first one pretty early on. Like I feel like I was an early adopter.
Yeah.
So I was like, because I'm usually like way behind the curve. Like everyone will talk about something, I'll like see it really late. I feel like really proud that I was. Yeah, I saw Terrifier 1 like pretty early on, and because I don't think it was like I heard people talking about it, but it wasn't huge. But I just thought it was so clever, like the way they. I shouldn't really spoil it, but it just does things that's like you don't do that in a slasher movie,
right?
There's rules. You can't do that.
Right?
I was like, no, we did it.
Rules. And people are like, no, you can't break the rules. But now look what happened.
And now Scream does it, and everyone's like, oh, Ghostface has got a gun, and it's like,
Batman never had a gun.
Yeah, but like Scream is like imitating Terrifier. It's like, what the hell? What's going on?
And even what was it? Art showed up in that. What was that show that Pete Davidson had with Joe Pesci?
Bupkis or something.
Yeah, Bupkis. Like Art the Clown was in an episode of Bupkis. Like,
really?
Yeah, that's crazy. Pete Davidson.
They went down and met up.
It was like a dream sequence or something, and Art the Clown was just there. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, that's
iconic character. Yeah,
that's for real. Like that's the thing too, is like we've had so many icons, and they're all just been the same icon since I've been a kid. So now it's time for new ones, right? Like, so.
Who would have thought a clown? Because like there's so many like clown bad guys, and it always just feels like, oh, you can't really do something new.
Right.
You can't do something cool with a clown. And they're like, nope, we're going to do something awesome with a clown.
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, you did it. You're like, it's actually great.
And it's completely
I just remember thinking Hellraiser.
Yeah.
Hellraiser and Texas Chainsaw Massacre came direct to streaming. And then Terrifier 2 was like blowing up in all these cinemas. I'm like, what's happening? This is backwards.
Yeah. Well, it was even cooler though, because I went to see it in the theater, and there was people that generally didn't know what they were getting themselves into, and it was pretty great. And it was a good experience. I'm glad that I'm happy for them too, because they're all great. All of them are just good dudes, and I'm happy that it's happening for them, and I'm happy for us as fans. But so on that note, we definitely want to play the trailer for Guns Akimbo, and we'll be right back after that, and then we'll wrap things up. So, Sergio, this is Guns Akimbo. It's got Daniel Radcliffe with guns attached to his hands.
Harry Potter.
It's got Harry Potter. But he's Harry Potter's are great movies, but I mean, Guns Akimbo and even
he did it right though, right? Like you make that bag, right? That big, huge bag as a kid actor.
Yeah.
Throw money at him, and then once he was like done with that, then he's selecting like Swiss Army.
But I mean, with the Harry Potters, it kind of built his career because in the beginning it was like kids movies. By the end, they got darker and darker and darker as they went. It was like more adultish and dark style, and then he just went off on his own. So
that's what
like
happened.
Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
But
anyways, here's the trailer for Guns Akimbo. We'll be right back.
Hey, I'm Miles.
Watch it, asshole.
When I was a kid, I wanted to be a hero. But instead, I grew up to be a nobody.
Another schism.
Schism picked random weirdos and made them fight to the death. And the internet loved it. Nick wins.
Yeah, Nick. I love you.
Coming. I think you have the wrong opinion.
Whoa, who are you?
Look, this is gonna sound really fucking weird, but can you help me? I have guns bolted to my hands.
Yeah, you're right. That does sound pretty fucking weird.
You have 24 hours to kill Nix. Fail, you die. Leave the city, you die. What the fuck is Nix?
It's showtime.
Don't shoot me! I don't want anything to do with this.
These guys came to my house last night. They're making me fight. But I have a plan.
Go on.
You can stop trying to kill me.
And kill Schism. You in?
No. Here's what we'll do. Relax and stop running!
Mistakes were made.
10 million viewers. You have made history.
I never wanted any of this.
Fuck!
It's over.
It's not over till I say it's over.
I wouldn't do that if I was you. You'll just end up blowing your damn face off. And then you'll still be depressed. Even more depressed, probably, because of your fucked up face.
Love that other dude. I always forget his name. But the dude's like,
restart me.
Up face. Like, what's that guy's name?
Restart
me, yeah.
Yes. No, he's sick. I since Flight of the Conchords. I mean, I'm sure he's had a much longer career, but I first was introduced to him from Flight of the Conchords.
Yes Man too. I remember him in Yes Man.
Oh, really? But yeah, he's always awesome. But anyways, so that's Guns Akimbo. Really good time. If it's a good watch.
Samara Weaving with no eyebrows.
Yeah.
Awesome look.
The producers were fighting against that so hard. They're like, oh, she doesn't look hot. And I'm like, it's not the fucking point. We don't want her to look hot. We want to take someone who's hot and make them look like,
badass.
Like fucking crazy.
Terrifying.
Yeah, it was very like,
get it.
I was like, this is, it's very fitting for the environment and the whole setup setup of that movie. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, she's amazing as well. Like, it was cool seeing her on Scream with her like real accent. It's kind of weird because on everything she's always doing an American accent, but it's like, oh my god, they let her be an Aussie.
She was in babysitter movies, right, on Netflix. Right. The Babysitter and I love those movies too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ready or Not.
I think I first saw her on Evil Dead, Ash vs. the Evil Dead.
Yeah, okay.
She was like one of the random campers, and I think the final episode or one of the last episodes.
Nice.
A photo of her from set got like shared by Trump fans. Like this is like a conservative woman got beaten up by like liberal protesters. And so she told me they were sharing her like image around from like the Ashes the Evil Dead set, like as like propaganda.
Grasping at straws. Anyways,
yeah, it's crazy.
I don't want to get into political stuff.
No, she's from Mayhem too. If no one's seen that, check
yes,
that out.
Yes.
Oh, with the guy from Walking Dead, right?
Yeah.
Good old the guy from Walking Dead.
I can't think of his name.
I'll never forget him.
Steven,
hit with the bat. Oh shit.
Yes.
You
ruined it, man.
What?
It's only been out for 10 years.
Actually, you're just hiding under a dumpster the whole time. What?
That's right.
So that being said, though, we do have to wrap up. So thanks, obviously, for coming on and talking about it. I'm very excited to see what you come up with, and so where can people go to follow what you got going on and any other news that's coming up?
Just go straight to that Kickstarter and make it rain is my only advice. It's just,
that's right.
I remember like when we started the Kickstarter, they're like we had a meeting with them. They're like, only 11 people from New Zealand have supported you. I'm like, damn, I've been here for like over 40 years and only 11 people have given me money. But yeah, no, it's seriously like in anything at all, like if someone can only give a few bucks, they'll still get a thank you. And in my mind, I take a bullet for you. Maybe not like in the chest, like sort of great. Maybe not a bullet. Maybe Anyway, but anyway, I just want to say thanks so much to everyone that has supported it. It's like incredible. And it's I know times are tough. Like it's we're going through a recession here in New Zealand. A lot of people are really broke and getting laid off, and I totally understand, that it's a big thing for people. So thank you so much for anyone that has contributed.
Yeah. And
but especially with us, I mean, music and movies are, an outlet. So, in tough times, sometimes that's what you turn to is like the arts. Music and stuff. So
yeah, no, I totally agree. And it's, and just want to tell people it's coming from, it's made by fans for fans. Like we're not like big, we're not the Hollywood Disney people that are screwing over actors. We're just, I'm trying to save up enough money to like put gas on my car like everyone else, and just roll it down the hill and just put it in neutral. But yeah, it's very much like we're not making the movie to make like money for ourselves. We just want to have fun and throw blood around and like show other people what we've done, basically.
Yeah. Well, it looks. I mean, considering what you did with the small budget you did for the first one, I can't wait to see it because it looks like a much larger budget movie. Obviously, I know you're poo-pooing it, but obviously you know what you're doing because
we just shit on what we do. I don't know. It's a totally different thing from you guys. You're like in America, you get brought up to like big yourself up. In New Zealand, we always have to put ourselves down.
Certain people
like next. I already made the first one. Now I want to make a second one.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna like.
Just so you know, not all Americans are grandioso either.
Yeah,
we're pretty down on ourselves as well.
Yeah.
But Saul saying, thanks for being here tonight. So yeah, that's cool. You enjoyed it.
Thanks.
Well.
Thanks.
So Angel, where can people go to follow you?
Just hit up That Strange Show. That's it. We're on that. Just dropped a new episode where we talked about spider bite boners and a bunch of other nonsense. So go check that out.
Yeah.
And thanks for being here tonight, man. This was awesome.
No, also thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Listen to my bullshit.
You can find me at Tony Has Nine Fingers on YouTube, where I do movie reviews or anything movie related. You'll find there. Tony Has Nine Fingers on X, which I don't use. Tony Has Nine Fingers on TikTok, which is my fastest growing thing. You'll find me there the most, where I talk about movies, review movies, anything along those lines. You can find me at Tony's Movies on Instagram, where I show off the movies behind me, and of course here most Tuesday nights, whether we have an awesome guest or it's just, sit down and talk about horror movies. So, Kevin?
just A Knuckle on Instagram. Besides doing this show and that strange show, I'm also doing the Re-Education of Nancy Ann Ritter. Comes out every 2 weeks, where we're just teaching Nancy Ann Ritter, one of the bathroom girls from Scream. She doesn't know anything about horror, so we're just making her watch horror movies and getting her reaction. And it's a good time.
Yeah, what's the newest episode is TCM, right?
Yes, we just put TCM up. The next one up is going to be Evil Dead 2. And that one didn't go as well. Unfortunately, that one didn't go as well.
Wow.
I was surprised. I was actually pretty shocked. But well, yeah, check those out. And thanks for watching and listening. Thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah,
and
go to the Kickstarter. Let's get this movie made. Deathgasm 2, Goremageddon. Let's go.
Yeah, and also Sergio is asking where we can see Guns Akimbo. It's on Tubi right now. You can watch on Tubi.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
Oh, awesome.
Nice.
I love Tubi. I didn't know that. Yeah, no, check it out and just find a copy. If someone hits me up in the DMs, if they've got no money, I'll send them a screener. I don't know.
There you go.
Whatever.
There you go.
Right. Thanks for watching and listening, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.
Awesome. Cheers, guys.
Yep.
I don't know.